Welcome to the Geek, the History Geek. I'm Mr. Hodges. If asked about holidays in the month of November, everyone will remember Thanksgiving. However, most people either forget or do not even know that there is another holiday that we celebrate in November too. Can you think of that holiday? For many people, this American holiday will simply, slip their mind. It is time to fix that. Today we'll explore another important November holiday. Time to suit up. Yes! I bet you're wondering why I'm wearing this. Well, you're going to find out. Today we're going to learn about the history of Veterans Day. So everyone, I need your attention. So let's get started. Have you ever wondered what a veteran is? Or have you wondered why we celebrate Veterans Day? Or why the holiday is on November 11th? Truthfully, many people do not know the origins of this holiday or why we celebrate it. Perhaps we should start with the word veteran. A veteran is a person who has served or is serving in one of the branches of the military. Our veterans have served our country from the Revolutionary War through all the wars we have fought up to the present day. Now for the interesting historical part, the origins of this holiday. The roots of Veterans Day actually lie in the history of the Great War, or what we call World War I. World War I started in July of 1914 and lasted 4 long, bitter, and bloody years into 1918. It was the first large-scale industrialized war, and the new types of weapons and the ability to keep them supplied allowed killing on a scale that had never before been seen. About 20 million people died, over 10 million civilians, and 9.7 million soldiers. They died of disease, starvation, and of course they died as a result of the fighting during the war. As the end of 1918 approached, the situation became increasingly desperate for the various Central Powers nations, and Austria-Hungary and the Ottoman Empire began to ask for terms to end the war. Germany was the last to ask for an armistice. So what is an armistice? Well, an armistice is an agreement by two opposing sides for a cessation of hostilities, that is, to end the fighting for a certain period of time. We also call this a ceasefire or a truce. This is done while an attempt is made to negotiate a lasting peace. By this point in time, Germany's allies had abandoned them by surrendering. They were close to falling apart economically and militarily, and they were afraid that their country would be invaded and conquered. They were also on the verge of an internal civil war. Because of these things, they asked for an armistice to find a way to end the war. It was decided that the fighting on the Western Front would end on the 11th month, the 11th day, the 11th hour, which is 11 a.m. in the morning. So November 11th would mark that day, and November 11th, 2018, marked the centennial or the 100th anniversary of the armistice that ended the fighting in World War I. Although the U.S. entered the war late, joining the Allied powers on April 2, 1917, the U.S. would still see the loss of 117,000 servicemen, which was higher than all of the other wars combined, with the exception of the U.S. Civil War to that date. The loss of life was staggering for the fledgling world power. To honor the service of the soldiers, President Woodrow Wilson would proclaim November 11, 1919, the first Armistice Day, with the following words. To us in America, the reflections of Armistice Day will be filled with solemn pride in the heroism of those who died in the country's service, and with the gratitude for the victory, both because of the thing from which it has freed us, and because of the opportunity it has given America to show her sympathy with peace and justice in the councils of the nations. The original celebration included parades and public meetings, and across the nation everyone paused for a 2-minute moment of silence and suspension of business at 11 a.m. Following World War I, the U.S. Congress passed a law, and this was on June 4, 1926, officially making November 11th a legal national holiday and calling it Armistice Day. With the end of World War II, however, the holiday was altered to be a day of tribute to the veterans of both World Wars. This was observed each year until 1954. So why the change? Well, it took the dedication and perseverance of one man. In 1945, after having served the U.S. Navy during World War II, Raymond Weeks returned to his home and his family in Birmingham, Alabama. Because of his experiences during the war, he envisioned a national holiday that would honor all veterans. Because of its prominence, he chose Armistice Day to honor all veterans of all wars. The next year, he wrote a letter and personally delivered it to the current Army Chief of Staff, General Dwight D. Eisenhower. In his letter, he asked for a National Veterans Day to be recognized in 1947. Because of Weeks' commitment to honoring the veterans who bravely served the country during the times of war, he founded the National Veterans Day Organization in 1947 as well, and Birmingham, Alabama held its first Veterans Day event in 1947. In 1954, following the fighting of obviously World War II and later on the Korean War, Eisenhower, now president, changed the designation of Armistice Day to All Veterans Day when he signed a bill making November 11th a federal holiday and calling it All Veterans Day. It was later shortened to simply Veterans Day. So as we come to Veterans Day this year, I would like to take a moment to remember the efforts of Raymond Weeks, the father of Veterans Day, and the efforts that he took for us to remember all of our veterans. Once again, we can see what the vision, hard work, and perseverance of one citizen can do. When he was honored by President Reagan on November 11th, 1982, the president described Weeks as a person who devoted his life to serving others, his community, the American veteran, and his nation. Raymond Weeks died in May of 1985, and to honor him and his efforts, I want to remind you to think about the service of our veterans. We should all take a moment to honor and to thank our veterans and to remember the sacrifices they have made. We should take a moment to remember that the freedom we enjoy has never been free. I encourage you to take a moment to thank our veterans for their service to our country. Salute to our veterans. Well, as I begin to wrap up this video, I think it would be important to remind people that it is Veterans Day, not Veterans Day nor Veterans Day. It is important to remember that there's no apostrophe in this. It is also important to remember that Veterans Day honors all veterans that have served our country in peacetime or during wartime, still living or now deceased. And it is intended to thank living veterans for their sacrifices. It is also important to note that this is not the same as Memorial Day, which honors those that have been killed in service to our country. For more information, check out my Memorial Day video that covers that topic. I encourage you to share what you have learned from this video with your friends and your family and the people that you know as we take this time to remember and to honor our veterans. I urge you to thank a veteran for their service. Now, I cannot possibly cover everything about the history of Veterans Day, so if you want to know more information about this interesting holiday, I urge you to research it for yourself. As always, if you've liked this video, I would ask you to share it with others, and please vote for more history by giving it a like. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and ring the bell for notifications for future videos. Well, that's it for now. So until the next time when I ask the question, did you know? I am Mr. Hodges, and this is the History Geek.